Hey everybody, welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we're diving into something that's really got everyone talking.
Yeah.
AI and how it's shaking things up, particularly for folks in IT and technical writing.
Definitely a hot topic.
And we're going to be looking at an article called Surviving the Disruption, a guide for IT professionals and technical writers.
Okay.
It's by Curt Robbins.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, and this isn't just some random blogger. He's a senior technical writer who's worked with some big names.
Oh, yeah. Like who?
FedEx,
Wow.
Microsoft,
Impressive.
Northrop Grumman.
Okay, he's worked with some major players.
CNC Bank, USAA, Wells Fargo. I mean, the list goes on.
So he's seen it all.
He's been on the front lines of this whole AI shift.
Hmm.
So let's see what he has to say.
Sounds good to me. What I find really interesting is that Robbins doesn't just go all doom and gloom about AI.
Right.
He gets it. AI is disruptive, but he focuses on how IT professionals and tech writers can not just survive, but actually thrive.
Okay, so no need to panic just yet. Give us the highlights.
Sure thing. Well, Robbins lays out a pretty clear roadmap, and it all starts with lifelong learning. He says that certifications in things like AI, cybersecurity, and UX design are becoming absolutely essential.
So it's not enough to just coast on what we already know. We've got to be constantly upskilling.
You got it.
Makes sense, but where do we even start? I mean, there's so much information out there.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Robbins actually suggests some specific resources. He's a big fan of platforms like Coursera
Oh, yeah.
for finding relevant courses. He also stresses staying updated with industry news webinars, the whole 9 yards.
So the message is clear. Learning never stops, especially in tech.
Exactly. Now, I know some people might be thinking, well, I'm not building AI, I just use tech. Why do I need to understand all this?
Yeah, good point. There
Yeah.
are definitely going to be people listening who are thinking that.
But Robbins addresses that head on.
Okay, good.
He says, even if you're not a developer, understanding the basics of AI is critical in today's tech landscape. You need to know how it works, its limitations, its potential impact on your field.
Makes sense.
That way, you can anticipate changes, adapt your skills, and even use AI to your advantage.
It's like if you don't understand the tools you're working with, how can you possibly expect to master them?
Exactly. And that leads us to another crucial area. Robbins highlights user experience, or UX.
Right, because in a world where we're bombarded with digital products and services, the user experience is often what separates the good from the great.
Absolutely. Robbins makes a strong case that user-centric design is a major differentiator.
So how do we actually do that? How do we ensure we're putting the user front and center?
He's a big proponent of design thinking.
Design thinking.
It's a problem-solving approach that puts the user's needs at the heart of the design process.
Okay.
He suggests conducting user research, gathering feedback, and really putting yourself in the user's shoes to understand their pain points and motivations.
So it's all about empathy, really. It's about understanding the people who will be using the technology and designing it in a way that makes their lives easier and more enjoyable.
Precisely. And that's where technical writers have a particularly crucial role to play. Think about it. They're the bridge between the complex technical world and the everyday user.
Because they translate all that tech jargon into something we can actually understand.
Exactly. Robbins emphasizes the importance of clear, concise, and accessible language in technical documentation. He's a big fan of using visuals, diagrams, and real-world examples to make complex concepts easier to grasp.
Especially in a world where AI is changing things so rapidly. Clear communication is more important than ever.
Couldn't agree more.
It's like if you can't explain it simply, maybe you don't understand it well enough yourself.
Uh-huh. That's a great point.
Now, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With all this talk about AI and digital transformation, security has to be top of mind.
Absolutely. And Robbins doesn't shy away from that. He points out that with our growing reliance on digital tools, cybersecurity is no longer just an IT issue.
It's everyone's problem.
It's a business-critical issue. And here's where it gets really interesting. AI has a dual role in cybersecurity.
Dual role.
Yeah. On the one hand, AI can be a powerful tool for strengthening security.
Right.
It can analyze massive amounts of data to detect threats, identify vulnerabilities, and even automate responses to attacks. But on the other hand,
AI can also create new vulnerabilities.
exactly.
Because if AI can be used to defend systems, it can also be used to exploit them.
Got it. It's a double-edged sword. And Robbins really digs into this complexity. He stresses the importance of understanding both the defensive and offensive capabilities of AI in cybersecurity.
Okay, so if AI is both a shield and a potential weapon, How do we navigate this cybersecurity landscape? What are some practical steps IT professionals and technical writers can take?
Well, first and foremost, staying informed is crucial.
Staying informed.
Yeah, Robbins suggests subscribing to industry publications, attending security conferences, and participating in online forums.
Sounds like a full-time job in itself.
Haha.
Yeah.
It can be a lot to keep up with, but it's essential. The threat landscape is constantly evolving, so we need to be constantly learning and adapting.
I hear that Robbins also emphasizes the importance of implementing robust security protocols, like multi-factor authentication, data encryption, and regular security audits.
All essential.
So it's a combination of proactive measures and constant vigilance. And I'm guessing technical writers play a key role here too.
Absolutely. They're the ones who need to communicate these security practices clearly and effectively to users. They need to translate complex technical concepts into easy-to-understand language and provide guidance on how to protect personal information and stay safe online.
It's almost like cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility, not just the IT departments.
Exactly. We all have a part to play in keeping our data and systems safe.
Yeah.
And speaking of shared responsibility, Robbins also highlights another crucial aspect of navigating the AI revolution.
You're talking about accessibility
Yeah.
and inclusivity, right?
You got it.
Right.
And this is a topic that's often overlooked, but Robbins makes a compelling argument for why it should be front and center.
It seems like this deep dive is all about adapting to a rapidly changing world where technology is becoming more and more intertwined with every aspect of our lives.
That's a great observation. And accessibility and inclusivity are key parts of that adaptation.
But Robbins goes beyond just saying it's the right thing to do. He argues that it's also smart business.
Exactly. He emphasizes that designing products and documentation with accessibility in mind isn't just an ethical imperative. It's essential for reaching a wider audience and staying competitive.
So it's not just about doing good, it's about doing good business.
I like that.
So how do we actually ensure accessibility and inclusivity in tech? What are some practical steps IT professionals and technical writers can take?
Robbins recommends adhering to established standards like the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG for short.
WCAG, I've heard of that, but to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what it entails. Can you break it down for us?
Sure, WCAG is a set of guidelines that ensure digital content is accessible to everyone regardless of their abilities. This includes things like providing alternative text for images so that screen readers can describe them to users with visual impairments, using semantic HTML to create well-structured content that's easy to understand, and making sure all functionality can be accessed using a keyboard for users who can't use a mouse.
So it's about making sure that everyone, regardless of their physical abilities, can use and understand the technology.
Precisely. And testing for accessibility is crucial. Robbins suggests using tools like screen readers to experience the content from the perspective of someone with a visual impairment. He also highlights the importance of ensuring sufficient color contrast for users with low vision and providing captions for multimedia content for those who are deaf or hard of hearing.
These are all fantastic points. But there's another aspect of inclusivity that Robbins mentioned, and I think it's often overlooked language.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's a strong advocate for using inclusive language in all forms of communication, including technical documentation.
What does that mean exactly?
It means avoiding jargon, using terminology that's respectful and inclusive of diverse cultures and ethnicities, and generally making content understandable for a wider range of users.
So it's about recognizing that not everyone has the same level of technical expertise or comes from the same background, and we need to tailor our communication accordingly.
Exactly. And this is especially important for technical writers who need to communicate complex information in a way that's clear and accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or expertise.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Lifelong learning, user experience, cybersecurity, and accessibility. It's clear that AI is forcing us to rethink the way we work and the skills we need to succeed.
Absolutely. And Robbins doesn't just focus on the challenges. He also highlights how AI can be a powerful ally for IT professionals and technical writers.
This is where I think it gets really exciting because AI isn't just something to be feared. It's also something that can help us do our jobs better and more efficiently.
Precisely. Robbins suggests using AI for automating repetitive tasks, which frees up time for more creative and strategic work. He also mentions that AI can assist with content creation translation and even search engine optimization.
So instead of seeing AI as a threat, we should be embracing it as a tool that can augment our capabilities.
Exactly.
Right.
And Robbins clearly believes in the power of AI because he even plugs his own AI podcast, AI for the Masses, in the article.
Well, you got to admire his entrepreneurial spirit.
He also highlights the potential of AI for improving decision-making through data analysis.
Yeah.
By analyzing large data sets, AI can help identify patterns and trends that might not be immediately obvious to humans.
So AI can help us make more informed decisions, which is crucial in today's fast-paced business environment.
Exactly. And it's funny because Robbins highlights one skill that you might not expect in this AI-driven world. He says that in order to be a great technical writer, you need to have a firm grasp of, wait for it, the Oxford comma.
Okay, now that's a curveball. The Oxford comma. Of all things we've discussed today, that's the one that caught me off guard.
I know, right? But it actually makes perfect sense when you think about it.
Well, enlighten me. How does understanding a punctuation mark make you a better tech writer, especially in the age of AI?
Well, Robbins emphasizes that while AI can be a powerful tool for content creation, it's still up to humans to ensure clarity and precision in communication.
And sometimes that comes down to something as seemingly small as a comma.
Exactly. A misplaced comma or the lack of an Oxford comma can completely change the meaning of a sentence. And in technical documentation where accuracy is paramount, a single punctuation error could have serious consequences.
So the Oxford comma debate isn't just about grammar. It's about the importance of clear, concise, and accurate communication in a world where AI is increasingly playing a role.
Exactly. And I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners. Even in a world dominated by AI, the fundamentals of good writing still matter.
Absolutely. Things like clarity, precision, and attention to detail are essential for any technical writer who wants to thrive in this AI-driven world.
And it's not just technical writers. I think those same principles apply to anyone working in tech today.
That's a great point, because at the end of the day, whether you're writing code, designing interfaces, or managing complex systems, communication is key.
Couldn't agree more.
And I think Robbins would agree too. He clearly believes that even in the age of AI, human skills are still essential for success.
Absolutely. He's urging us to embrace the power of AI, but also to recognize the importance of our own unique abilities.
And one of those abilities is our capacity for critical thinking. So I want to leave our listeners with a question that Robbins poses in his article, In This Age of AI Disruption. How do we ensure that we're using technology ethically and responsibly? It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer, but it's one that we all need to be grappling with.
That's a great point to end on. It's a reminder that while AI is a powerful tool, it's up to us to use it wisely and to consider the potential consequences of our actions.
Exactly. And on that note, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We hope you found this exploration of AI disruption as insightful and thought-provoking as we have. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of knowledge.
See you next time.